Binka shyly confessed her feelings. Winfred was sincerely glad to hear it, knowing that he was not alone. True? You feel the same, don't you? I knew it. Anyway, from now on, don't worry if I don't treat you as kindly as before. It's not because you've done something wrong or because I don't like you. You don't like to be misunderstood, do you? He felt great relief. It would have been better if he had told Binka from the beginning, from now on, I am going to distance myself from you for this reason. No matter how much he thought about it, it had been a stupid mistake. But Binka looked at him with wide eyes, as if surprised by his words. Because? What's happening? Do I have something on my face? He looked at her, caressing her cheek for no apparent reason. Oh, I'm sorry. It's unexpected. I thought that even someone as important as His Highness, like me, cared about other people's opinions, like anyone else. I thought people like His Majesty the Emperor and His Highness would do whatever they wanted without worrying about what others thought, Binka said as if she really didn't expect that to happen. It was easy for those who didn't know him well to think like that. It was a misunderstanding he often encountered, and he skillfully denied it. No. There are so many things to worry about. There are so many things that make you think, you can't do this or you'll look bad if you do that. Even now, it was still like that. Didn't he have to force himself to distance himself from Binka, worrying about other people's affairs? Of course, what worried him most at that moment was whether that rumor would reach the ears of Isla, whom he truly loved. I see. If I had that power, I could get rid of all the annoying things and do whatever I wanted. Winfred looked at her bewildered, feeling a slight shiver run down his arm when he heard her speak, because it was a word that did not fit Binka's beautiful and sweet face. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, it was a joke. Even though His Highness, the Crown Prince, is so kind to me, how dare I joke like that? I shouldn't have done it. Suddenly, Binka apologized, almost hitting her head on the ground, as the atmosphere became strange. Winfred stopped her by protecting her head with the palm of her hand so she wouldn't hit the desk. Ah, there you go again. What's wrong with your topic? Don't say those things. Only after he repeated several times, you don't have to apologize like that, Binka calmed down a little and stood still in front of him. Winfred, who was watching her with a slightly red face, suddenly felt uneasy and tilted his head to look at her. By the way, Binka. I haven't seen you in a while, but you seem to have grown a little. Are you still growing after 20? Winfred, who was in the middle of a growth spurt, where each day was different from the last, had grown quite a bit, but Binka seemed to have too. Of course it was a subtle difference, so subtle that only someone with a good eye would notice it. So it could be your mistake. But for some reason, Binka's face reflected clear surprise at Winfred's words. He paled so quickly that the color drained from his face instantly. Why are you so nervous? Winfred was also surprised. Was it really that rude to say you were tall? No. You may be a little taller than everyone else, what's there to be ashamed of? Binka, who had been uneasy for a moment, confused, lowered her voice and opened her mouth as if she had made up her mind. Actually, I'm not 20 years old. I'm sorry. Yeah? What does that mean? Winfred blinked rapidly at the sudden confession and looked at Binka. Well, it's been 3 years since I entered the palace. To work as a maid in the palace, you have to be of age, so I lied about my age. If you want to work somewhere else, your age doesn't matter, but the imperial palace only hires people over 18 years of age. Binka bit her lip as she finished speaking, saying that being a maid was the only job a young commoner with no skills could do, and since being a palace maid was the highest paid, it was an inevitable choice. In fact, Winfred felt an indescribable pity when he heard her confess that she was now 17 years old. Thinking about how, at 15, she had to lie about her age and work as a maid in the palace to get money for her mother's medicine. Her heart ached. If you tell me to stop, I will stop right now, so please don't tell anyone, Your Highness. If others found out, it would be no problem to stop being a maid, but rather to pay the consequences for lying about her age and falsifying documents. Despite Binka's sincere plea, Winfred remained silent. He seemed lost in thought. And after a while, he lowered his voice and spoke. I'll keep it a secret. So don't say anything about quitting. You need money for your mother's medicines. Your Highness. He hadn't lied for any other bad reason, and he had made that decision for the good of his only family. He had no intention of expelling such a kind Binka. It's just our secret, right? Winfred extended her pinky with a mischievous smile, reminding her of her father, Hiram. Share a secret? It seemed like they were very close brothers. Yes, thank you very much, Your Highness. Binka beamed and linked her pinky with Winfred's. There was no shadow on his luminous face. Despite Count Senespon's continued sincere pleas, Gerald's persistent visits to the annex continued unabated. In fact, they seemed even bolder. At first, she hesitated and backed away whenever Cloud was around, but now she had realized that she couldn't do anything to him, so she didn't even look at him. As soon as Isla went out to the garden, he would run in with all kinds of treats and toys that the girls would like, so much so that, for the last few days, even training had to be done inside the house. Of course, Cloud thought he had taught him all the basic techniques, so it was just light training so he wouldn't lose practice. I couldn't even do that and, being locked in the room, I couldn't stand the hassle. Today was worse. Hey, beautiful. Come out and see me, okay? Isla didn't know how he found out, but he had been bothering her for hours, throwing pebbles and things like that under her window. Isla had to fight the urge to open the window and jump to knock him to the ground, telling herself it was too much for her. I had always thought Winfred was a bright and innocent child, but compared to Gerald, he seemed incredibly mature. Although he was a year older than Winfred, I didn't understand why he acted like that. Isla, who had never had a friend her age other than Winfred in her past or present life, instinctively knew that this was not a normal relationship. Pretty, come play with me. And then, again, a stone flew against the window, making a loud bang. At the same time, he thought he heard his patience breaking. Isla walked over to the window and threw it open. He felt like he couldn't take it anymore without screaming, "Please leave me alone." Really, he was a scoundrel. He had exhausted his deep patience, the same one he had endured even in the face of his sworn enemy, Byron. As he threw open the window, another pebble fell flying from below. It seemed that he had not realized that she had opened the window and thrown the rock. Isla instinctively caught it with her hand. Wow! What trick do you do? How did you catch her? Exclaimed Gerald, clapping his hands, as if in amazement. It was a boldness that contrasted with the one he had just shown, almost hitting someone with a rock. Isla squeezed her eyes shut, resisting the urge to throw the rock at him at 120 kilometers per hour and crack his head. Can you leave me alone, please? Why are you doing this to me? I just need to rest easy. Hey, what kind of girl are you, speaking like an old man who's been through it all? I like you, I just like you. I want to take a quiet walk with you, chat for a while. That's all I want, he responded with a mischievous smile that made her want to hit him. And Isla thought, that's definitely not what he likes. He couldn't understand how someone could irritate a person he loved so much. I don't feel like doing that, so please leave me alone and come back. Before I throw this stone at you. You? If you throw it, will it hit me? Gerald laughed and scoffed. His tone was clearly contemptuous towards the young woman. Even if he couldn't learn, how could he be so incompetent? Isla shook her head. It couldn't be sillier than coming to see her every day and not realizing that she was an extraordinary person, different from ordinary girls. Of course, even if she were a normal girl, it would have been wrong to make such a derogatory comment. Throw it away. I'll catch her. Finally, Isla couldn't take it anymore and returned the rock that Gerald had thrown at her. He aimed just above her head, of course, to miss it. The stone he threw whizzed past Gerald's ear at a speed that made it difficult to believe it was a simple stone he had picked up with his bare hands. Gerald slowly turned his head in disbelief and looked at the spot where the stone had landed. Get out when I say nice things to you, Isla exclaimed, slamming the window shut.